Yo, what's good, boys? We're out here at Project Wellbeing in Las Vegas. We got invited here to come check out some training with Cody Garbrandt. We saw him last time at the Jon Jones fight. He had just fought Trevin Jones. He came, he did an interview with us. There was a little bit of a clip there that kind of went viral. We were asking him, you know, how he was doing just on a personal level. So we kind of clicked there, and now we're here. We're gonna hang out, watch him do some training, and film some content. So let's go.
Let me first and foremost say, you know, to a lot of the MMA anchors that come and, like, you know, see us on fight week, like, come out and see our gym, you know, come out and see our training centers, do what these guys are doing, putting the time in to see the struggle, you know. So it's, you know, when you get to see us and speak to us, that emotion comes out in our interviews, and you know what we put into it because you saw a little bit of the training and maybe the setbacks, or, you know, sometimes it's not always a good day in the gym, you know. Sometimes you're always not the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. Hanging with the boys.
What's going on, boys? Hey, we are here at Project Wellbeing. We want to say thanks to these guys for having us. We just watched Cody finish a workout in there. Last time I saw you, Cody, we were hanging out after the Trevin Jones fight. There was actually a video that kind of went a little viral. It was an interaction between me and you, and I was just asking you how you were doing personally. And I mean, obviously people ask, you know, how was your fight? But I want to know, how is Cody Garbrandt the person right now? How are you doing, brother?
Man, I appreciate you asking that. That's heartfelt question, you know.
And you were like, man, thank you for asking me that kind of question. And I also want to say, you know what, I appreciate you for being so honest in that interview, because I feel like not a lot of people actually ask how fighters are doing outside of them being athletes. You know what I mean?
For sure. You know, it's judged off of wins and losses. You know, it's like you're going to get more hype or interviews or attention if you're winning. You know what I mean? It's like, how about if you lose, how do you come back from that? How about show the world about coming over adversity and setbacks and how you deal with that? You know, it's obviously the goal is to win, and you know we glorify that in every sport across the world. You know, winners win. You know, so what about the trajectory of a loss? What it brings to you? You know, the mental fortitude, what you have to get back. You just, you know, sacrifice a couple months of your life to prepare for this fight. You know, say you lose half your money, like you go back to the drawing boards. Hopefully you're not injured. You have to, you know, kind of wait for the next fight to come, to be announced and be ready. So, you know, it's a high anxiety life, you know, wins and losses. But you know, you were real. That was our first interview that we did together off of a, you know, a little skid that I was on, and you know, it was good to get the win, especially on the circumstances of how I was, you know, not 100% going into the fight. I don't think we ever are, you know, so that's not excuses. But to get the win, you know, and not be injured inside of the octagon and back to work is that's the most important thing. You know, I love to train, I love to work, I love martial arts and growing as a martial arts as I, you know, develop in this journey of, you know, wins and losses and learning about myself. So it's great to be back just to the fun and enjoying. I wouldn't say fun, and the enjoyment, you know, because this stuff's not fun at all. Like, it's not fun to come and do this. I enjoy it because I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the process of getting better on every standpoint of your life, wins, losses, and what you learn and engage from, you know, the mental and the warfare that you go through.
Like, this is an interesting one for me, because I want to know from an athlete's perspective. Like, I know you guys don't buy into the comments and things like that too much, but from like a mental health perspective, when you know, if you lose a couple or something goes wrong in a training camp and like people talk shit online, does that stuff get to you at any point? Or like, what goes through your mind when you see things like that?
I was very fortunate enough to come from a really small town, you know, that had that. I was a kid that wasn't supposed to make it. I won a freshman state championship in the state of Ohio. I was super underdog that year. So I kind of always had the doubters, that wanted to see me fail or had these comments since I was, a young teenager, 12, 13, 14 years old. So I've dealt with that throughout my whole entire life, getting into the UFC, winning the world title under 2 years of being in the UFC roster at 25 years old, dismantling one of the greatest bantamweights to ever step face in the WEC and the UFC, and Dominic Cruz, and really a masterclass performance. So I've always had that. I had a couple things that go on in life and transpire, and some losses. But that's all about growing. Like I said, I was 25 years old, and my whole world changed, and I went from unranked to world champion in the same calendar year. From literally $50 in my bank account going into the Thomas Almeida fight to, not having to live paycheck to paycheck or fight to fight, as I was doing prior to that fight. So, there's a lot of ups and downs, and still even after being a world champion, I was 11-0 and went on a 3-fight skid, then had a tremendous knockout against a very tough competitor in Rafael Sunsao, and then, lost a tough decision to Rob Font, and then got stopped by Kai Kara France going to 25, and now I bounced back with a win over Trevin Jones. And Trevin Jones is a great fighter. He has the equalizing power. He has a lot of good knockouts. He's one of those guys that stays in the fight, does enough to either win a fight or land that devastating blow. So it was an important fight. It was an important fight for me to get back on track, especially I had 3 different opponent changes, so it was nice to get that win, to be in front of a good audience in Vegas, and have my first fight with all my coaches and teammates. So I moved to Vegas. It was new coaches and new teammates I had to find in under a year, and try to go through a lot of injuries and surgeries that set me back, that postponed my return to the octagon. So it was nice. I found Project Wellbeing. Dan Eags sent me here. I was injured. He sent me here for physical therapy work, and then I met Sean, the owner, Sean Freitas, the owner of Project Wellbeing, and he became my strength and conditioning coach, and it's been paying dividends across the board on body mechanics, my physicality that I bring, the power, the speed, the endurance. He understands, this is a supplement of work into what we do in our skill work. That's not going to take away from that, fight night.
So you say, like you said this earlier, you said this, this stuff isn't fun. So what in your day is fun to you? Like, do you get time to yourself? If there was something that you could do once a day that would be fun to you, what is that? What is that one thing?
One thing for me is spending time with my son. That's something I truly enjoy, being a father, watching him grow. He's 5 years old now, so the conversations that we have are pretty intelligent, and just kind of showing him the ropes and having him learn his emotions as I'm learning about, mental health and, how to tackle anxiety or fear or just little things that's helping me out so I can pass down to my son so he can be a better man than I am and not have to go through a lot of these struggles that, say, I struggled with as an early teen, trying to find my way to a young man, to, just all the things that life can throw at you. So just being present in my son's life, like I'm in camp a lot, I train a lot, and he understands that. He's my road dog, so he comes to the gym with us. So sometimes I train in the morning when he's at school. I'll take the afternoon off, we'll go to the park, go do something fun and enjoyable for him, let him be a kid. And just so really anything with my son, I enjoy that. If I could do that every day, that would be just a huge blessing to me.
That's a subject that I've always wondered on, and it's been kind of controversial between some people in MMA, is when fighters bring their kids to their fights. Like, is he at the age where he knows what you do for a living now?
Yes, he does. He knows what I do. He watches the fights with me since he's a young kid. That, we used to watch UFCs and boxing, and we wrestle. And he comes to the gym with me. He's never been to one of my fights yet. The next fight, he's 5 years old. I want to take it to him and just kind of show what what I do in the crowd. And I like having him there. I FaceTimed him before my last fight and just let him know how much I loved him, and no matter what happens, it's gonna be all right. You know, I'm doing this for him and our future, and you know, so he gives me peace in a time of chaos. You know, kind of calms me down when I go into an octagon with another man that's trying to, you know, steal a dream from me, steal money from me, steal everything I worked for. So he brings me peace in a time of chaos and just like uncertainty. You know, you truly believe that you're the best man that's going to step inside the octagon, but you know, it's a game of inches. You know, it's anything can happen in there. So that feeling of unknowing what's going on there is kind of what's so thrilling for me, to go in there and be like, I don't think I can knock this guy out. I believe that I can, but you know, I think that's what the adrenaline that comes after you get the finish, or you get the win, or you get the stoppage. It just like all the emotions pour through, because you're like, fuck, I finally did this. Everything that I worked for, you know, put in this 8 to 10 week camp. You finally got the job done. Now you can relax a little bit after the fight, have some fun, you know, take a week off, spend time with him, and then, you know, gear up for the next one.
Yeah. Do you worry at all about him seeing it though? Like we've seen with Alex Pereira, and I mean what Israel did, he kind of mocked his son because his son mocked him at one point, and obviously his son was visibly upset. But I mean, do you worry about your son, you know, potentially seeing you take punches to the face, or do you sit down with him afterward and, you know, explain everything that happened in there?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I explain to him. Sometimes they ask, oh, you know, I come home with stitches or black eye, like, oh, Dad, what happened? You gotta, you know, you're bleeding. Is that your blood? You know, so I tell them, well, you know, I train, you know, it happens. And then obviously about wins and losses, I tell them, like, you know, sometimes life's not fair. You know what I mean? You want to think that's fair. And so I show those, you know, in real life what happens. You know, like, I'm like, hi, you know, like, all right, sometimes you don't get to go to the gas station every day and get candy after school. Like some kids don't get that pleasure, you know, that to do that. Their parents might not be able to do that for them. So, you know, be thankful and appreciative. So I'm, you know, he's grown up different than I grew up, you know. But one thing that was always there in my life and always was going to be in his life was love. There was always love in my household, whether it be tough love, you know, something that our mom instilled in us, you know, and I'm very thankful for the way that she raised us and was there for us through thick and thin. And that's what I'll be for him, you know. It's like sometimes it's got to be, you know, love, and sometimes it's going to be tough love. And I understand that, you know, life is not fair sometimes. You got to understand that, you know, like we talked about the prayer and the incident with that, like, okay, that could happen. That could happen to Dad, you know. And I think of the other side too, you know, the guy that I'm fighting, you know, like I have emotions, you know, I feel for them too, because I know that feeling on the opposite side of a loss. You know, it sucks, it's horrible, you know. I think that's why at the end of the fight, end of the day, whatever happens, the best man wins. There's that mutual respect.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I pray for my opponents and my adversaries that they have a great camp, they don't get hurt, they don't have any baby mama drama, they don't have anything going on that's going to deflect their, you know, certainty or willpower inside that octagon and give me the best of them, and we put on the best performance, and hopefully they don't get hurt. But it's the name of the game, and it's a brutal sport that we I don't like to call it a sport, you know. It's a brutal way to make a living.
It's definitely a hard way to living, and the thing is not a lot of us are ever going to understand what you guys go through. Like, I mean, us as fans, we get to watch it, we get to appreciate it, but this is why I like coming out and watching you guys get in, work in the gym, and seeing the behind the scenes work, because not a lot of people really understand what you guys go through before you even get in that octagon. So my next question, obviously, I mean, we got to know what's next, right? I seen you working in the gym. We talked a little bit earlier. You said you're trying to get back maybe August or so.
Yeah, August would be a great, you know, targeted date for myself. You know, I had some injuries all last year. I had 3 fight camps, only fought 1 time. So, you know, I'm still developing my skill, you know, developing my stable mates out here, and my coaches getting our rhythm and timing and implementing things that, you know, I couldn't work on in camp. So, you know, adding a little bit of this, adding a little of that, you know, just keeping the wheels polished. And, you know, I think August will be a great return date for myself, and just looking forward to that, working for that, just staying disciplined and dedicated, and just honestly, at the end of the day, just consistent with the work.
What would you say to the Cody No Love doubters?
Oh, man, keep doubting. You know, that's something that fuels me. I love proving everybody wrong. I've been doing it my whole entire life, and I won't stop.
Cody No Love. Listen, this is crazy for me that I'm even sitting here. You know what I mean? Like, we're supposed to keep it like professional, but man, listen, I fully enjoy hanging out and just talking and getting to know these guys on a personal basis. But Cody, do you want to shout out your sponsors or anybody as well?
Yeah, definitely. Let me first and foremost say, you know, to a lot of the MMA anchors that come and, like, you know, see us on fight week, like, come out and see our gym, you know, come out and see our training centers, do what these guys are doing, putting the time in to see the struggle, you know. So it's, you know, when you get to see us and speak to us, that emotion comes out in our interviews, and you know what we put into it because you saw a little bit of the training and maybe the setbacks, or, you know, sometimes it's not always a good day in the gym, you know. Sometimes you're always not the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and come and just, you know, portray that to the audience, and you know, maybe help educate them a lot on what really goes behind the scenes. You know, it's not all, you know, hashtags and retweets in this sport, for sure. So be able to come and you know, characterize and narrate, you know, what we do to get to fight week, you know, understand, like, the process of it, and just know what we go through. So I appreciate you coming in and taking your time to, you know, go through one of these growing workouts with us. You know, it's Wednesday, so we still have 3-4 more days of hard training. So it's time to eat and recover and get back to it.
Listen, I'm the OG, as always, with Full Send MMA, and it was nice to be able to hang with the boys. Can I get a hang with the boys?
Hang with the boys.
We out of here, baby.